All right, think you've got a handle on AWS. Think you're ready for the associate exam? Well, we're going to put that to the test today. We're diving deep into real exam questions.
That's right. We're going to see if you can apply these AWS concepts to real-world problems. So, no just memorizing facts here. It's about understanding the why behind the what.
Okay, so let's jump right in. Question 201. Picture this. A company, kind of stuck in the past, running a monolithic application on a single EC2 instance.
Ah, the good old days, right?
Right. Well, their CTO finally sees the light and wants this app to recover automatically if that instance fails. And of course, they want it to happen like yesterday.
So it needs speed, A&D, reliability. Got it. Well, this is a prime example of where CloudWatch alarms shine.
Okay, so CloudWatch alarms. Tell me more.
Think of them like those little sensors in your car. You know, the ones that tell you when your tire pressure is low or your engine's overheating? Well, CloudWatch alarms do the same thing for your EC2 instance. They're constantly checking its health and can trigger specific actions if they detect a problem.
So if the instance goes down, CloudWatch is like, hey, we've got a problem here. Time to launch a new instance.
Exactly. It's like having an automated safety net for your application.
Makes sense. So it's not just about fixing the problem. It's about minimizing downtime, right? Keeping that app running smoothly.
Absolutely. High availability is crucial in the cloud. Every minute your application is down could mean lost revenue or frustrated customers.
Right. Reliability is everything. Okay, on to question 202. Data migration. A company is using Direct Connect to link their on-premises setup to AWS.
So they've got that high-speed connection in place.
Yep. They need to shift a mountain of data over to S3 securely and quickly. What's our go-to solution?
AWS Data Sync is your best friend in this scenario. It's a managed service that makes replicating data to S3 a breeze.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Walk me through it.
You deploy the Data Sync agent on premises, configure your sync jobs, and point it to your S3 bucket. Data Sync handles the rest, making sure your data is transferred securely and efficiently.
So it's like a high-speed, secure pipeline straight to S3. And Direct Connect just turbocharges that connection, right?
Exactly. They work hand in hand to make sure your data migration is as smooth and painless as possible.
Okay, time for a security challenge. Question 203. We've got a serverless application using API, Gateway, and Lambda.
Classic serverless setup.
Right. But now, imagine a botnet attack. How do we protect our app from these unwelcome guests?
Ah, security. Always a fun one. Well, in the serverless world, we need to think in layers. First, we can implement API gateway usage plans.
Usage plans, what are those?
Think of them like VIP passes.
Right.
Only those with the right API keys can get through the door and interact with your API.
So it's like a digital bouncer, checking for those API keys before granting access.
Precisely. But let's say a bot manages to snag a key. We need a backup plan.
Okay, what's our second layer of defense?
IAM rolls to the rescue. Each user gets a role that defines exactly what they're allowed to do in your AWS environment.
So even if they get past the first gate, they're still restricted in what they can access.
Exactly. Like having different levels of security clearance within a building, you might have access to the lobby, but not the top secret research lab.
Makes sense. Layered security. I like it. Now let's dive into the world of databases. Question 204. We've got a company struggling with those dreaded manual database tasks, tuning, patching, all that fun stuff. Their MySQL database is powering their order fulfillment system, and their developers are spending way too much time on maintenance instead of building cool new features.
I feel their pain. Manual database management can be a real drain on resources.
Right. So what's the solution? How can we free up their developers and give them back their time?
It's time to introduce them to Amazon Aurora.
Aurora. Tell me more.
It's a managed MySQL-compatible database service that takes the hassle out of database management. Aurora handles things like scaling and patching automatically.
Okay, so Aurora's like, hey, developers, go focus on building those amazing apps. I've got this database stuff covered.
You got it. Aurora lets you offload those tedious tasks and focus on what matters most, your applications.
I love it. Okay, question 205 adds a wrinkle. Cost consciousness. We need to deploy a containerized web app. High availability is a must, but the budget's tight. How do we balance those competing demands?
This is where we get to play with the AWS toolbox. We can use an ECS cluster with the EC2 launch type for this.
ECS. Okay, remind me what that is again.
ECS stands for Elastic Container Service. It's a fully managed container orchestration service that makes it easy to deploy, manage, and scale containerized applications.
Right. Containers. So how does this help us save money?
By strategically placing our tasks across 3 container instances, we can achieve high availability without overspending. We'd put 2 tasks on one instance and 1 task on each of the other instances.
Ah, I see. So even if one instance fails, the application stays up and running. Smart. But won't managing all those containers get messy, especially on a tight budget?
That's the beauty of ECS. It handles all the complex orchestration stuff for you. Deployment, scaling, networking. You can just focus on building a great app without breaking the bank.
Okay, now back to Direct Connect with question 206. This time, it's all about maximizing resiliency. Imagine a mission-critical connection. We need to make sure it's bulletproof.
Bulletproof. Got it. The key here is thinking multi-region. We'll set up 2 direct connections, one in each AWS region where their application is running.
So like having a backup internet connection, but for Direct Connect.
Precisely. It's all about redundancy. If one region experiences an outage, the connection stays alive through the other region. No downtime, no disruptions.
Smart. Okay, onto the world of microservices. Question 207. We have 2 microservices, creatively named A and B, chatting through an SQS queue.
Keeping things simple, I see.
Right. But what if microservice B just can't process a message? It tries and tries, but no luck. What happens then?
Time to call in the SQS dead letter queue.
Dead letter queue. That sounds ominous.
It's not as scary as it sounds. Think of it like a special holding area for those problematic messages.
Okay, so instead of just disappearing, those messages get sent to this special queue.
Exactly. You can configure your main SQS queue to redirect those messages to the dead letter queue after a certain number of failed processing attempts.
So it's like having a separate folder for those emails that keep bouncing back. You can deal with them later without cluttering up your inbox.
Exactly. It's all about keeping things organized and ensuring smooth operation.
Question 208 brings us to a machine learning application running on AWS Fargate. This application is hungry for data, demanding concurrent file access, and top-notch storage performance. What's our storage solution?
Machine learning. Always pushing the boundaries of performance. In this case, Amazon FSx for Lustre is our champion.
Okay, FSx for Lustre. I've heard the name, but give me the rundown.
It offers shared storage that's built for speed and concurrent access. You create an FSx for Lustre file system, set up the right permissions, and your application can access the data it needs with lightning-fast speeds.
So it's like giving our machine learning application a dedicated superhighway for data access.
You got it. No traffic jams, no delays, just pure speed. And for machine learning, where performance is critical, that's a game changer.
Now, for question 209, let's imagine a financial risk modeling system, the kind that uses HPC on AWS. Hundreds of EC2 Spark instances are crunching numbers. We need a storage solution that can handle those high-performance needs and also integrate with long-term storage. What's the winning strategy here?
We can leverage Amazon FSx for Lustre again, but this time we'll team it up with Amazon S3.
A dynamic duo. I like it.
Right. FSx for Lustre handles those high-performance demands during processing. Then, once the heavy lifting's done, we shift those output files over to S3 for durable, cost-effective long-term storage.
So FSx is like the sprinter, handling the initial burst, and S3 is the marathon runner, ensuring those files are stored safely for the long haul.
Perfect analogy. You've got it.
All right, question 210. Picture an e-commerce website going global. They want to improve the user experience for customers worldwide, but of course without blowing their budget. What's the magic formula?
A sprinkle of Amazon CloudFront and a dash of Amazon S3.
2 classic ingredients. Explain how this recipe works.
CloudFront is our global content delivery network. It caches content like images closer to users, no matter where they are in the world. And S3 provides the reliable, cost-effective storage for those images in the first place.
So it's like having a network of distribution centers stocked with those images, strategically placed around the globe to ensure lightning-fast delivery to customers.
You got it. It's all about minimizing latency and maximizing performance, which translates to happier customers.
All right, question 211 throws a curveball. We're migrating a NoSQL database to EC2, and the top priority is maximizing I/O throughput. What kind of EC2 instance do we choose?
This calls for a storage-optimized instance with Instance Store. These instances are built for speed when it comes to data-intensive tasks.
Instance Store.
Think of it like a turbocharged hard drive that's physically located on the instance itself. It delivers lightning-fast read and write speeds.
So it's like having a dedicated express lane for all those data requests. There's no traffic, no delays.
Precisely. If speed is what you need, Instance Store is the way to go.
Okay, time for some on-demand image customization. Question 212. Users send requests through API Gateway. And the system needs to generate those customized images on the fly. What's our serverless solution?
We'll build a serverless pipeline using Lambda, S3, and CloudFront. Lambda functions handle the image manipulation, S3 stores the images, and CloudFront delivers them globally with caching for lightning-fast delivery.
So it's like a cloud-based photo lab that can process and deliver thousands of customized images in seconds.
Exactly. It's scalable, efficient, and cost-effective. You only pay for what you use.
Okay, let's shift gears to security again. Question 213. We have a public web application that we need to protect from those nasty DDoS attacks. What's our first line of defense?
AWS Shield is our go-to service for this. It acts like a shield, constantly monitoring for and mitigating common DDoS attacks. But we can add another layer of protection with Amazon Route 53.
Route 53, isn't that a DNS service?
It is, and it's incredibly powerful. Route 53 can leverage its global network of DNS servers to absorb and deflect attacks.
So it's like having a network of watchtowers, scanning the horizon for threats. If one tower gets overwhelmed, the others step in to help.
Precisely. Combining AWS Shield and Route 53 gives you a comprehensive defense system, making it much harder for attackers to take down your application.
Now, on to question 214. This one hits close to home for anyone running an e-commerce site. It's the holiday season and traffic is surging.
Yes, the joys of holiday traffic spikes.
Right. We have an application running on EC2 instances behind an ELB. How do we proactively scale up to handle this flood of users?
We'll use auto-scaling, specifically its recurring scheduled actions.
Okay, break that down for me.
Think of it like scheduling extra staff for the holiday rush. You know those peak periods are coming, so you create a schedule that tells auto-scaling to boost capacity in advance.
So our application is ready to handle that surge in traffic, no problem.
Exactly. No performance hiccups, no frustrated customers, just smooth sailing through the holidays.
Okay, let's talk about hybrid cloud architectures. Question 215. A company needs a solution to process data, both on-premises and in the cloud.
Hybrid cloud, the best of both worlds.
Right. They need their data to be accessible in both environments. What's the solution?
The AWS Storage Gateway File Gateway can bridge that gap. Think of it like a magic portal between your on-premises infrastructure and AWS storage services.
So they can work with data in the cloud as if it were right there in their own data center.
Yep. It's a seamless experience. No need for complex code changes or data migration headaches.
I love it. Question 216. Imagine a company running out of storage space on their on-premises systems.
A classic storage dilemma.
Right. They want to migrate their data to AWS, but they're worried about those bandwidth costs. What's a cost-effective way to make the move?
This is a perfect use case for AWS Storage Gateway with cached volumes.
Cache volumes. Okay, I'm listening.
It's like having a local copy of your favorite book on your bookshelf, even though the whole library is stored in the cloud.
I like the analogy. So how does it actually work?
The storage gateway keeps frequently accessed data cached locally on premises while storing everything in S3 for the long term. This minimizes those data transfer costs.
Smart. Okay, question 217. We have a Lambda function that needs to decrypt files stored in S3. These files are encrypted using KMS Customer Managed Keys, CMKs.
Sounds like some sensitive information we need to protect.
Right. How can we ensure secure access to these files while following all those security best practices?
Permissions are key here. We need to grant decrypt permissions to the Lambda function's IAM role within the KMS key policy.
Okay, so it's like giving the Lambda function a special key card to access those encrypted files.
Exactly. We want to make sure that key card is guarded carefully.
Now, question 218. A company is experiencing sluggish response times on their Aurora MySQL database because of a ton of read traffic. What's the prescription for this performance slowdown?
We'll prescribe a healthy dose of Aurora auto-scaling for read replicas.
Auto-scaling for read replicas. Explain.
Think of read replicas like helpers who can share the workload. Auto-scaling automatically adjusts the number of read replicas based on demand. So when read traffic spikes, it spins up more helpers to handle the load.
So it's like having a dynamic team of cashiers who can jump in and out as needed to keep the checkout lines moving smoothly.
Precisely. It's all about keeping those response times snappy and your database running at peak performance.
Okay, on to question 219, which deals with a common cloud challenge. IP address exhaustion. Imagine a company whose VPC is running out of IP addresses. They're growing fast, and their current VPC just can't keep up.
Growing pains. A good problem to have, but still a problem nonetheless.
Exactly. So what's the solution?
The simplest solution is to create a new VPC with a larger CIDR block.
CIDR block. Refresh my memory on that one.
A CIDR block defines the range of IP addresses that are available within your VPC. It's like expanding the boundaries of your virtual network.
So it's like moving to a bigger house with more rooms when your family starts to outgrow your current space.
Got it. Exactly. You need to plan for that growth and make sure you have enough space to accommodate those new family members, or in this case, those new resources.
Okay, last one for this segment. Question 220. A company's application is crawling because of a heavy mix of read and write traffic on a single RDS instance. How can we boost their performance?
Time to bring in the read replicas again. They can handle those read requests, taking the pressure off the primary instance, which can then focus on write operations.
So it's like creating an express lane for shoppers who just want to browse, while shoppers making purchases have their own dedicated lane.
You got it. Read replicas are a powerful way to improve database performance and ensure your application runs smoothly. All right, let's jump back into these AWS associate exam questions. We've got a lot more to cover.
I'm ready. It's incredible how many different scenarios AWS can handle. Speaking of which, question 231 throws us a migration challenge. This company's moving their 3-tier web application to AWS, and they need a database that can scale on the fly and handle those complex queries with multiple tables.
Sounds like Amazon Aurora is the perfect fit for this job. It's built to handle those heavy workloads, automatically scaling storage up or down as needed, and delivering the performance those complex queries need.
So Aurora takes the pressure off the company, letting them focus on their application instead of worrying about the database.
Exactly. It just works. Okay. Question 232 is all about disaster recovery, that multi-region kind. This company needs near real-time recovery for their mission-critical applications. They can't afford to lose much data, and downtime is a big no-no.
So we need a solution that's both fast and reliable. What's our go-to for this?
Amazon Aurora Global Database. It replicates your data across multiple AWS regions, ensuring high availability and data consistency. So if one region goes down, boom, your application seamlessly fails over to another region.
It's like having an instant backup in a different location, ready to take over at a moment's notice.
Exactly. Minimal downtime, minimal data loss. It's a lifesaver for those critical applications.
Question 233 takes us back to performance optimization. A company's on-premises MySQL database is struggling to keep up with all those write operations. Their applications are slowing down, and they need a solution fast.
Sounds like it's time to embrace the cloud. We can migrate that database to Amazon DynamoDB with MongoDB compatibility.
Okay, DynamoDB. I know it's a NoSQL database, but remind me why it's a good choice for this scenario.
DynamoDB is built for high-volume write operations. It can scale like crazy and handle those write-intensive workloads without breaking a sweat. And using a memory-optimized EC2 instance type will turbocharge that performance even more.
So it's like replacing that old clunky truck with a high-speed sports car. Data is flowing smoothly, and their applications are back in the fast lane.
You got it. Okay, question 234. We have a company that needs a safety net. They're not ready for a full cloud migration, but they want a backup plan in case their data center goes down.
So a failover environment in AWS. Got it. But they need a multi-layered approach to make sure everything is protected right.
Absolutely. We'll start with Amazon Route 53 failover records for DNS redirection. This ensures that if their primary data center goes down, traffic is automatically rerouted to their failover environment in AWS.
So it's like having a detour sign that guides traffic around a road closure. Love the analogy. What other applications?
We'll launch their applications on EC2 instances, of course, but we'll put them behind an application load balancer in an auto-scaling group.
Okay, that makes sense. High availability and scalability for those applications.
Yeah.
But what about their data? We need to make sure that's safe and sound too.
Don't worry, we've got that covered. We'll use the AWS Storage Gateway with stored volumes to back up their critical data to S3.
So it's like having a secure vault in the cloud where they can store those backups. Got it. Okay, question 235. This company needs to store call recordings for a year. Recent recordings need to be easily accessible, but older recordings can be archived for long-term storage.
The good old data retention challenge. We need a solution that balances accessibility with cost-effectiveness.
Exactly. What's our strategy?
We'll use tiered storage. Recent recordings stay in S3 for quick access, but for those older recordings, we'll use S3 lifecycle policies to transition them to Amazon S3 Glacier.
Glacier, that's the super cheap long-term storage option, right?
You got it. It's perfect for those recordings that need to be kept for compliance but aren't accessed very often.
Okay, question 236. Application migration time. This company wants to move their .NET application and Oracle database to AWS, They're looking for a smooth transition with minimal code changes and, of course, high availability for their application.
We can make this migration a breeze. For the .NET application, we'll rehost it on Amazon Elastic Beanstalk using the .NET platform.
Elastic Beanstalk, that's a platform as a service, right?
Exactly. It simplifies deploying and managing applications in AWS. And we'll set it up in a multi-AZ configuration to ensure high availability.
So their application can keep humming along, even if one AZ has a hiccup. Now, what about that Oracle database?
We'll migrate that over to Amazon DynamoDB using AWS Database Migration Service, also in a multi-AZ configuration.
So DynamoDB again. It seems like it's the go-to solution for a lot of these scenarios.
It really is a versatile service. Okay, question 237. We've got a company with a containerized multi-tier web application running on-premises. They want to leverage the power of AWS without a complete rewrite of their application.
So a hybrid approach. They want to keep some things on premises while using AWS to enhance their existing infrastructure.
Exactly. We can give their application a performance boost with Amazon CloudFront for content delivery and Amazon ECS Mesh for inter-service communication.
Okay, CloudFront makes sense. It's like a global content delivery network, making sure their website loads quickly for users around the world. But what about ECS Mesh?
ECS Mesh simplifies communication between those different tiers in their application, making sure everything runs smoothly. It's like having a dedicated communication system within their application, ensuring those different parts can talk to each other efficiently.
Okay, question 238. We're back in the world of e-commerce, and security and high availability are mission critical. We need to make sure their applications is both protected and always accessible.
We'll start by launching their EC2 instances in a private subnet using an auto-scaling group. This gives us high availability and scalability for their application servers.
So it's like having a team of security guards protecting the inner workings of their application. But we need more than just guards. We need a multi-layered defense system, right?
Absolutely. We'll deploy their RDS database in private subnets as well, using a multi-AZ configuration to ensure redundancy and protection. And we'll configure their VPC with private subnets and NAT gateways across multiple AZs for even more security and network segmentation.
It's like building a fortress with multiple walls, moats, and guard towers. It's going to be pretty tough for any attackers to get through.
Exactly. Their application will be well protected.
Okay. Question 239 presents a bit of a data conundrum. A company duplicated their web application architecture, but now users are experiencing inconsistent data access.
Oh, the perils of data duplication. Sounds like they need a way to centralize that data and make sure everyone's working with the same information.
Spot on. What's the solution?
Amazon EFS. We'll copy their data from those EBS volumes to EFS, which is a shared file system that can scale like crazy. Then we'll modify their application to save all new documents to EFS.
So it's like combining those two separate filing systems into one central, super efficient system, ensuring everyone has access to the most up-to-date information.
Exactly. EFS simplifies things and keeps everyone on the same page.
Okay, on to question 240. We need a robust bastion host architecture. It's got to be highly available and resilient because bastion hosts are crucial for secure access management.
We'll build a highly available bastion host setup using a network load balancer, NLB, and an auto-scaling group.
Okay, I'm familiar with both of those, but remind me why they're a good fit here.
The NLB distributes traffic across multiple bastion host instances, making sure that even if one instance fails, the others can pick up the slack. And the auto-scaling group automatically adjusts the number of instances based on demand, keeping things cost-effective and resilient.
So it's like having a team of gatekeepers, each with a backup, ensuring that access to your fortress is always available.
Exactly. Secure and always on duty.
Question 241. A company needs a storage solution for an infrequently used application. They're looking for the most economical option without sacrificing performance.
For this, I'd recommend Amazon EBS General Purpose SSD GP2 volumes. They offer a great balance between performance and cost. Perfect for workloads that don't need constant high performance but may have occasional spikes in activity.
So it's like having a pay-as-you-go storage unit for those items you don't need to access very often but still want to keep safe and sound.
Exactly. It's a cost-effective solution without compromising on performance.
Question 242. A company is migrating their MySQL database to AWS, and minimizing data loss during the process is their top priority. How can we ensure a smooth and secure migration?
We'll create an Amazon RDS MySQL DB instance with multi-AZ functionality enabled.
Multi-AZ, that's all about redundancy, right?
Absolutely. It means their data is replicated synchronously to a standby instance in a different availability zone.
So even if one AZ goes down, their data is safe.
Exactly. Minimal risk, maximum protection.
Question 243. We got an EC2 instance in a private subnet that needs internet access for software updates.
Ah, the classic dilemma. We want that internet access, but we don't want to expose the instance's IP address to the public internet.
Exactly. Security first. What's our solution?
A NAT gateway is our friend here. We'll set one up in a public subnet and route outbound traffic from the private subnet through it.
So it acts like a translator, converting private IP addresses to public IP addresses, allowing the instance to access the internet without revealing its true location.
Precisely. Security and connectivity hand in hand.
Okay. Question 244. A company needs a storage solution for an application with growing data volumes. Scalability and ease of management are top priorities.
This is where Amazon EFS shines. We can store their data in an EFS file system and then mount that file system on their application instances.
EFS, that's the elastic file system, right?
You got it. It scales automatically as their data grows, so they don't have to worry about capacity planning. And it's super easy to manage.
So it's like having a storage container that expands as you add more stuff. No need to worry about running out of space.
Exactly. EFS takes care of all the heavy lifting for you.
Question 245. Data transfer time. A company needs to move data between S3 buckets located in different regions, and they want to do it without using any physical devices.
No problem. AWS S3 Sync commands can handle this. They're super efficient and can move data across regions without breaking a sweat.
So it's like using a high-speed data pipeline to move those files from one bucket to another.
Exactly. Fast, reliable, and easy to manage.
Okay, question 246. Let's talk about service-level agreements, SLAs. This company wants to make sure their web service, which is running on EC2 instances, stays up and running, even if an availability zone has a hiccup.
High availability is crucial for meeting those SLA commitments. We'll use a target tracking scaling policy with a short cooldown period on their auto-scaling group.
Okay, break that down for me. How does this policy ensure their web service stays online?
This policy will automatically launch new instances if an AZ goes down, ensuring they always have enough capacity to handle traffic and meet their SLA.
So it's like having a backup generator that kicks in if the power goes out, keeping the lights on and the business running.
Exactly. It's all about being prepared and ensuring continuous operation.
Okay, question 247. We've got a company looking to reduce their storage costs for data stored on EFS. What can we do to help them save money without impacting their application performance?
We can implement an EFS lifecycle policy. This policy will automatically transition data that hasn't been accessed in a while to a lower-cost storage class, EFS infrequent access.
So it's like moving those boxes of old files to a less expensive storage unit. You still have access to them, but you're not paying premium prices to store them.
Exactly. It's a smart way to manage costs and optimize your storage usage.
Question 248. A solution architect is facing an IP address space exhaustion issue in an IPv6-enabled VPC.
Running out of IP addresses, a classic cloud challenge. It happens especially with IPv6 where the address space is vast but not infinite.
So what's the fix?
We need to create a new IPv6-only subnet with a larger range of IP addresses. This will give them more breathing room and ensure their IPv6 deployment can keep growing.
It's like expanding the borders of your virtual city to accommodate a growing population.
Exactly. Plan ahead, anticipate that growth, and make sure you have enough space for everyone.
Question 249. Content personalization time. This company wants to deliver different versions of their content to users based on the type of device they're using.
Tailoring the experience. We can achieve this using a powerful combination of Amazon CloudFront, Lambda at Edge, and AWS Global Accelerator.
Okay, CloudFront and Global Accelerator, I get those. Global reach, fast delivery. But what about Lambda at Edge?
Lambda at Edge is the magic ingredient here. It allows us to run Lambda functions at CloudFront's Edge locations. So, based on the user's device, Lambda at Edge can customize the content that's delivered.
So it's like having a personal shopper who can handpick the perfect items for each customer. Very cool.
It's all about creating a more personalized and engaging experience for users.
Okay, question 250. Database management time. A company is planning to add a read replica to their RDS for MySQL database to improve read performance. Any advice for them before they make the move?
Yes. They need to make sure any long-running transactions on the source database instance are complete before they add the replica.
Why is that so important?
It ensures that the replica starts off with a consistent snapshot of the data, preventing potential conflicts or inconsistencies. Think of it like making sure everyone has finished their meal before clearing the table and setting it for the next course.
Makes sense. Well, we've covered a ton of ground in this segment. From disaster recovery to database optimization to security best practices, it's amazing how many different challenges AWS can tackle.
It really is a testament to the power and flexibility of the AWS platform. All right, we're on the final stretch. Ready for more AWS Associate Exam questions?
You bet. Bring it on.
Okay. Question 251. Imagine a company that needs rock-solid backup storage for their on-premises database servers. They want those backups stored securely, but also need quick access to them if disaster strikes.
So, a balance of security and accessibility. What's our solution?
AWS Storage Gateway File Gateway is the perfect tool for this job. We'll deploy it on premises, and it'll seamlessly back up their data to an S3 bucket while keeping local copies for fast recovery.
So it's like having a copy of your most important files stored off-site in a secure vault, but you can still grab a copy quickly if you need it. Makes sense. Okay, question 252. We have a data analyst who needs to query data stored in Amazon S3. It's structured data, CSV files, and they need to be able to run SQL queries on it.
Querying data directly in S3. Love it. Amazon Athena is our go-to service for this. It's a serverless query service, so there's no infrastructure to manage.
Serverless, that means no servers to set up, no software to install, just point and query. I like it.
You got it. It's super cost-effective because you only pay for the queries you run.
Okay, question 253, another content delivery challenge. This time, it's a company that needs to deliver those historical performance reports to users around the world.
Global content delivery. Sounds like a job for Amazon CloudFront, and Amazon S3 are dynamic duo. CloudFront caches those reports globally, so they load lightning fast for users, no matter where they are. And S3 handles the storage, making sure those reports are always available.
It's like having a network of libraries around the world, each stocked with those reports. Instant access, no matter where you are.
Exactly. Fast, efficient, and cost-effective.
Okay, question 204. We need to host a web application that can handle large file uploads and downloads from users all over the world.
This calls for a two-pronged approach. We'll use Amazon EC2 instances with auto-scaling to handle the application logic and all that processing power. And for content delivery, we'll bring in Amazon CloudFront to cache and distribute those large files globally.
So EC2 for the brains, CloudFront for the speed. Makes sense.
Exactly. It's a winning combination for applications that need to handle heavy lifting and deliver content quickly to users worldwide.
Okay, question 255. We've got a media streaming company that needs a high-performance database for handling real-time data. And of course, high availability and data replication are non-negotiable.
For this, I'd recommend Amazon Elasticache for Redis. Redis is a blazing fast, in-memory data store, perfect for real-time data.
In memory. So it's like having a super fast cache that can handle those high-speed read and write operations.
Exactly. And Elasticache makes it easy to deploy and manage Redis with built-in high availability through data replication across multiple AZs.
So even if one AZ goes down, their data is safe and their streaming service keeps running smoothly.
Exactly. No interruptions, no data loss.
Question 256. Back to e-commerce. It's product launch day, and traffic is spiking. Our trusty e-commerce company is experiencing performance issues, and they need a quick fix.
Sometimes the simplest solutions are the most effective. In this case, I'd recommend increasing the instance size of their web server. Give them more CPU and memory to handle that increased load.
So it's like upgrading from a compact car to a powerful SUV to handle that heavy cargo. Simple, but effective.
Exactly. It's often the quickest way to address a performance bottleneck.
Question 257. This company wants to upgrade their data processing game. They want to ditch those batch processes and move to near real-time data processing for faster insights.
Time for a real-time makeover. We can build a real-time data pipeline using Amazon SQS and Amazon Kinesis Data Analytics.
Okay, two services I haven't heard of yet. Give me the details.
SQS is our reliable message queuing service. Think of it like a holding area for incoming data. And Kinesis Data Analytics is our real-time processing engine. It can analyze that streaming data, giving you those instant insights.
So it's like having a team of analysts who can process information as it comes in, rather than waiting for a big batch of data to arrive.
Precisely. It's all about speed and agility in today's data-driven world.
Okay, question 258. We have a security issue. A company is getting bombarded with suspicious access requests from different IP addresses within the same CIDR block.
Sounds like someone is trying to sneak in through the back door. Time to tighten up security. We can add an inbound rule to their network ACL and ACL, making sure that only traffic from specific IP addresses is allowed through.
So it's like having a security guard at the gate, checking IDs and turning away anyone who doesn't belong.
Exactly. NACLs give you that granular control over network traffic, making sure your resources are protected.
Question 259, we're back in the gaming world. This company wants to optimize their multiplayer game architecture for high availability and cost effectiveness.
We'll use a network load balancer, NLB, and an auto-scaling group to create a highly available and scalable gaming infrastructure.
Okay, remind me again how this combo works.
The NLB distributes traffic across multiple EC2 instances, ensuring the game can handle a ton of players without lagging. And the auto-scaling group automatically adjusts the number of instances based on player demand, keeping costs down and ensuring a smooth gaming experience.
So it's like having a dynamic team of referees who can manage the flow of players and ensure fair play, no matter how intense the competition gets.
You got it. It's all about creating a seamless and enjoyable gaming experience.
Question 260, container time. This company wants to deploy their containerized microservices with minimal maintenance hassle.
Sounds like they need a managed solution that can handle the heavy lifting. Amazon ECS with AWS Fargate is the perfect fit for this.
ECS and Fargate. Okay, remind me what those are all about.
ECS is our container orchestration service, and Fargate is a serverless compute engine for containers. We can deploy their microservices as ECS tasks on Fargate, and it'll handle all the infrastructure management, including scaling, networking, and security.
So it's like having a self-driving truck that can transport those containers smoothly and efficiently without any driver intervention.
Exactly. It's all about simplifying container management and freeing up developers to focus on what they do best, building awesome applications.
Question 261. Back to security. We have an S3 bucket with sensitive data, and we need to make sure only authorized EC2 instances within a specific VPC can access it.
We can lock down access to that S3 bucket using a combination of a VPC endpoint for Amazon S3 and a bucket policy. The VPC endpoint creates a secure private connection between their VPC and the S3 bucket, and the bucket policy defines exactly who can access what within that bucket.
So it's like having a secure tunnel that leads directly to the vault, and only those with the right credentials can enter.
Precisely. Security in layers. We love to see it.
Question 262. We've got a media company with a diverse set of storage needs. They need high performance, they need durability, and they need cost-effective archival storage.
Looks like we need to assemble the AWS Storage Dream Team. We can mix and match different services to meet their specific requirements. Amazon EBS for high-performance storage, Amazon S3 for durable object storage, and Amazon S3 Glacier for those long-term archives.
So it's like having a toolbox with different tools for different jobs. You wouldn't use a hammer to screw in a light bulb, would you?
Exactly. The right tool for the right job. Same goes for storage in AWS.
Okay, question 263. We need to deploy a vendor-provided Docker container in a serverless environment, and it needs some temporary storage.
Ah, the ephemeral storage challenge. No problem. We'll use AWS Lambda for this. We can create a Lambda function that uses that Docker container image and attach an EBS volume for that temporary storage.
So it's like renting a car with a spacious trunk for a short trip. You get the space you need, but you don't have to commit to owning the car long-term.
You got it. Lambda gives you that flexibility and cost-effectiveness, while the EBS volume provides that temporary storage space.
Question 264. More secure networking fun. A Lambda function, nestled in a compute subnet, needs to talk to a database in a separate subnet. We need to make sure that communication is secure and follows those network segmentation best practices.
Security groups are our heroes here. We'll create a security group for the Lambda function and allow traffic only from that security group to the database.
So it's like having a VIP pass that grants access to a specific club no one else gets in.
Exactly. Security groups are all about controlling who can talk to whom in your network. It's a fundamental security best practice in AWS.
Question 265. Back to cost optimization. This company's EC2 instances in private subnets need regular access to S3, but they want to minimize those data transfer costs.
VPC endpoints for Amazon S3 are the answer. They create a private connection between the VPC and S3, so those instances can access S3 without going over the public internet.
So it's like having a dedicated express lane that bypasses the tolls and speeds up data transfer while saving money.
Precisely. It's a win-win for performance and cost optimization.
Question 266. Time for some batch processing fun. This company has a dynamic batch processing job that needs a scalable and cost-effective solution. What's our strategy?
EC2 spot instances can save them a ton of money. Spot instances are spare EC2 capacity available at a discounted rate. They're perfect for those fault-tolerant jobs, like batch processing, where interruptions aren't a deal breaker.
So it's like getting a great deal on last-minute travel. You might not get your preferred seat, but you'll save a bundle.
Exactly. Spot instances can be a game changer for cost-conscious companies.
Question 267. This company is deploying an Amazon Aurora DB instance with a backup retention policy of 90 days. How can they make sure they're keeping those backups for the required duration, but also managing their storage costs?
We can configure their RDS instance to automatically copy those backups to an S3 bucket that they manage. Then we'll set up an S3 lifecycle policy to delete those backups after 90 days.
So it's like having an automated archiving system that moves those old backups to a less expensive storage tier.
Exactly. It's a simple and efficient way to meet their compliance requirements while keeping costs in check.
Question 268. We have a high-performance computing HPC application that's being migrated to AWS. They need a storage solution that can handle those heavy workloads while also being cost-effective.
We can combine the power of Amazon S3 and Amazon FSx for Lustre for this. S3 will handle the cold data, the data they don't access very often, while FSx for Lustre will provide the high-performance storage for those active workloads.
So it's like having a high-performance sports car for your daily commute and a fuel-efficient compact car for those long road trips. You choose the right vehicle for the job.
Exactly. You need the right storage solution for the right workload. That's how you optimize performance and costs.
Okay, question 269. We're helping a company migrate their virtual server-based workloads to AWS. They need to figure out which resources should be placed in public subnets.
NAT gateways and application load balancers are the usual suspects for public subnets. They need to be accessible from the internet, while instances in private subnets can connect through the NAT gateway for outbound internet access.
So it's like having a secure entry point for your building. The receptionist sits in the public area, directing visitors to the appropriate departments, while those departments themselves remain secure and tucked away.
Perfect analogy. It's all about creating a secure perimeter for your AWS environment.
Question 270. Security best practices time. This company wants to enforce the principle of least privilege for their EC2 instances. They want to make sure those security groups are locked down tight.
We'll make sure their security group rules are laser-focused. They should use the security group ID as the source or destination for their rules. This means that only traffic from or to specific security groups is allowed, minimizing the risk of unauthorized access.
So it's like giving each employee a key card that only grants access to their specific work area.
Exactly. No wandering into unauthorized zones. It's all about minimizing risk and maximizing security.
Question 271. We're dealing with duplicate messages in an SQS queue. This company is seeing duplicate records in their database, and they need to make sure each message is processed only once.
We can fix this by adjusting the visibility timeout for messages in the SQS queue. This prevents other consumers from grabbing the same message while it's being processed.
So it's like putting a do not disturb sign on a hotel room door, only one guest at a time.
Exactly. No double bookings, no confusion, just smooth and efficient message processing.
Question 272, DNS time. This company needs their DNS queries to return the IP addresses of all their healthy EC2 instances, making sure traffic is distributed evenly and their application stays resilient.
We can use a multi-value routing policy in Amazon Route 53 for this. This policy allows you to specify multiple records for a single DNS name, and Route 53 will return all those records in response to queries.
So it's like having a phone directory with multiple numbers for a single person, ensuring you can reach them no matter which line is busy.
Exactly. It's all about high availability and fault tolerance. If one instance goes down, traffic is automatically routed to the other healthy instances.
Question 273. We're designing a network architecture for batch processing workloads. The goal is to make sure that if one batch processing node has a hardware failure, it doesn't impact the other nodes. How can we achieve this isolation?
Spread placement groups to the rescue. We can launch those EC2 instances in a spread placement group. This ensures that they're distributed across distinct underlying hardware, so a failure on one node won't bring down the others.
So it's like spreading out your investments to minimize risk. You don't want all your eggs in one basket, right?
Exactly. It's all about building fault-tolerant systems that can withstand unexpected events.
Question 274. We're back in the world of ECS tasks, and we need to give a specific task permission to access an S3 bucket. What's the best way to handle this?
We'll create an IAM role with the necessary S3 permissions and then assign that role to the ECS task. This allows the task to access S3 without having to store AWS credentials directly in the task definition.
Ah, the power of IAM roles. No need to hard code credentials, which is always a security no-no.
You got it. IAM roles make it so much easier and safer to manage permissions.
Question 275. We're working with S3 event notifications, and a company wants to expand those notifications to more consumers without messing up their existing setup. How do we make everyone happy?
Amazon SNS topics are the perfect solution for this. We can configure the S3 bucket to send notifications to an SNS topic, and then anyone who needs those notifications can subscribe to that topic.
Ah, so it's like setting up a mailing list. Anyone who wants to receive updates can just sign up.
Exactly. SNS makes it easy to manage and distribute those notifications, ensuring that everyone who needs them gets them.
Question 276. We need a solution for near real-time data ingestion and querying. This company wants to analyze their data as it comes in, rather than waiting for those batch processes to complete.
Time to get those insights flowing. We can use Amazon Kinesis data streams to ingest the data in real time. Then we'll use Kinesis data analytics to query that streaming data.
So it's like having a live feed of information constantly updating, with analysts watching and reacting to those changes in real time.
Precisely. It's a powerful way to gain insights and make decisions quickly.
Question 277. We have a company that's moving their key management to AWS. They need a secure and robust solution that can handle key rotation, customer-provided keys, and integrate seamlessly with other AWS services.
AWS Key Management Service, KMS, is the answer. It's our managed key management service, providing a secure and centralized way to handle all those key management tasks.
So it's like having a high-security vault in the cloud, with all the bells and whistles to keep those keys safe.
Exactly. KMS makes key management easy and secure, which is essential for protecting your data in AWS.
Question 278. We need to create a high-performance public endpoint for a TCP-based application that's running in a VPC.
A public endpoint for a TCP application. This is where Amazon CloudFront can really shine, even though it's typically associated with web content. We can create a CloudFront distribution that listens on the TCP port used by the application and use application load balancers as the origin.
So even though it's a TCP-based application, we can still leverage the power of CloudFront's global network to improve performance.
You got it. CloudFront is more versatile than people realize.
Question 279. We've got a company building a serverless web application, and they need a database that can keep up with their low latency requirements.
Sounds like a perfect fit for Amazon DynamoDB. It's a serverless NoSQL database that delivers single-digit millisecond response times.
Serverless. No servers to manage, just pure performance. I like it.
It's a great choice for serverless applications, especially those with unpredictable traffic patterns.
Okay, last question. Question 280. We need to securely expose an application running on EC2 instances in a private subnet to the public internet.
Okay, so we want to make the application accessible while keeping those EC2 instances safely tucked away in a private subnet. We can create an Amazon machine image, AMI, of their EC2 instances and launch new instances from that AMI in a public subnet. Then we'll create a load balancer in the public subnet, and that'll act as the entry point for traffic, forwarding requests to the instances in the private subnet.
Ah, so it's like having a public-facing storefront that connects to a secure back-end facility. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Phew, we did it. We've explored a wide range of AWS services, tackled real-world scenarios, and hopefully gained a deeper understanding of how to apply these concepts to solve any cloud challenge that comes our way.
Absolutely. It's all about understanding the tools at your disposal and knowing how to use them effectively. The AWS cloud is a powerful platform, and with the right knowledge and a bit of creativity, you can build just about anything.
So to our listeners out there prepping for the AWS Associate exam, remember, it's not just about memorizing facts. It's about understanding how these services work together, how they can solve real-world problems, and how you can use them to build amazing things. Keep learning, keep experimenting, and you'll be a cloud pro in no time.